بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
Also told about the questions that will be asked in qabr, in grave, right, from every person. And then Rasulullah said a person who is a mu'min will be able to give the answer properly in qabr, and a person who is a munafiq or a kafir, he will just say, I don't know who is my Rabb, who is my Rasul, and what is my religion. I am saying what I saw people saying. So this shows that brother, being born in a Muslim family is not good enough. You have to truly believe in Rasulullah. And this is why brothers and sisters, both fathers and mothers, I would like to emphasize upon this again. That brothers, it is very important for you and then your children to take lessons of deen anywhere. Whichever masjid you go to, alhamdulillah, in every masjid there are some classes going on about Islam, about deen. Please go and join those classes. Otherwise, you will take it for granted that I'm Muslim. I'm from Palestine or Egypt or Morocco or Pakistan. I know what religion is. That might not be the case. You might learn that so far what you are knowing was very little, and in some cases you will find that you have to correct your belief. And here, brother, I often quote this ayah of Quran in Surah Yusuf. Allah in Quran have said, right at the end of Yusuf, Allah said, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. And if you want some sisters and brothers note the number of the ayah, so I'm going to tell you the number. It's in Surah Yusuf, and Surah Yusuf, as you know, starts in the 12th juz and then in the 13th juz. So in Surah Yusuf, the ayah number is ayah number 106.
What is surah number?
106.
The surah is Surah Yusuf, and the number of the surah itself is 12. 106. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that many of you, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ, many of you think that you are a mu'min, you have iman, إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ, but you do not know that you are doing shirk. Meaning the thing is that you have iman, right? But then you are doing several actions which are like the action of mushrikeen, like going and making sajda to a grave, calling upon dead people for help, no matter how pious that person has been, in that awliyaullah that you are calling upon for help, but you are calling for help from ghayrullah, or that's shirk. Now remember, you have to understand, ta'zeem of awliyaullah is important. All the awliyaullah from Sahaba till our present time, to respect them, to adore them, to follow them, to visit them, even to visit their grave is good, right? Rasulullah said that go and visit the grave. So visiting the grave is good, but making sajda to them, to the grave, calling for help and thinking that they also have some divine powers, that is completely wrong. That is wrong. So this is Aqidah. Now, I can tell you about India, my country. In India, we have close to 300 million Muslims. Yeah, like the population of US is 300 million. The Muslim population in India is over 300 million. Majority of the Muslims there, vast majority. Allah knows best, but estimated 85%. They go to these qubur and they do sajda. Now imagine, majority of them they might not be praying salah and all that, but when it comes to urs and all that, they go and they make sajda to awliyaullah. Sometimes we have names of some awliyaullah which we have given to them. For example, in Lahore you have that qabr of wali of Allah, and you call him Data Ganj Bakhsh. Data means somebody who can give. somebody who can cure you, somebody who can give you child, somebody who can fulfill your needs, your money. So they say Dada Ganj Bakhsh, Mushkil Kusha, Pirane Pir, Dastagir. So Gharib Nawaz. So I mean, understand that if you are doing all that, you are thinking that you are Muslim. But Allah in Quran is saying that there is shirk. Nobody can help you, nobody can hurt you except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So on one hand we have to believe in awliyaullah, right? And we have to adore them, we have to follow them, we have to love them, because love of awliyaullah is part of our deen. Allah in Hadith al-Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Man aada li waliyan faqad aadhantuhu bil harb. That a person who will hurt my wali, I am going to have war with him. So awliyaullah, we have to adore them, respect them. But should we cross the line in our aqidah? No. Should we just start? Same thing. All Ajmer Sharif and all that. So all these things are. So Allah in Surah Yusuf in ayah number 106 is saying that many of you believe. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُم بِاللَّهِ. You are thinking that I was born in a Muslim family, I have Muslim name, I pray Salah. But Allah is إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. But in my eyes, they belong to the group of mushrikeen, because their aqidah is of shirk. So what I'm saying, brother, is that it is very important to keep on checking your aqidah. Now, brother, sister, another thing that I think is very important that Dr. Fatih here just mentioned, what it is, that if you have iman. And this is something that I need your attention on. Brother, if you have iman but you are not doing a'mal salihat, good deed, you lose your iman at one time in your life.
It doesn't help him to have iman without salihat.
Yeah, it does not help. So you have to have a'mal salihat to safeguard your iman from kufr and shirk. For example, a person is not praying salah and he claims to be a mu'min. How long can he protect his iman? Not for long. Because Rasulullah said that a person who skips salah, faqad bari'a min zimmati Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And another prayer, faqad kafara. A person who is not praying salah, he is doing kufr.
Yeah. Iman has weight.
Yeah, iman has weight. It goes up and down, up and down. So anyhow, so here Rasulullah is saying that a person who is a munafiq, meaning he was born in a Muslim family, has a Muslim name, but he is placed in his qabr after his death, the one Munkar and Nakir will come and they will ask him about Ma Rabbuk wa ma dinuk wa ma taqulu fi hadha rajul, who is your Rabb, and what's your religion, and what do you say about this person, meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that person will say, La adri, I don't know. That he said that La adri, I don't know who is my Rabb, I don't know what's my religion. I kept on saying what I heard people saying. Traditionalists, people, we have more culture in our countries back home than religion. So people are celebrating Eid. You also Ramadan comes, everybody is fasting, so I'm also fasting. So it's more of a culture. But conviction needs to be there. So he said, well, I was also doing what people are doing, I found people doing. But did you really believe in it? I never thought about it. So I saw people doing it, so I was doing. So that person is called a munafiq, who never took Islam seriously, and he just followed the tradition of his time. So this is something very serious. So what I was saying was that no matter how old you and I are, we need to keep on attending the majalis of ilm and zikr. Because I often, brother, quote this incident which is very important. I think I have mentioned it many times here, but for new faces I can tell you one more time that, brother, the best group after Rasulullah sallam was the group of Sahaba, right? Then Tabi'in, then Tabi Tabi'in, right? Now, only a week had passed by. Only a week had passed by since Rasulullah left this world. Only 1 week. Okay? Sahaba went to Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, right, who was a very knowledgeable Sahabi, and they said, Abdullah Mas'ud, can you give us dars every week? Every day. Because Rasulullah sallam, when he was alive, we would go to him every day. So we'll find that our Imam from here will zoom up. Okay? Now only a week had passed by and we see weakness in our Iman. In 1 week. And then Khairul Qurun, the best of times. Right? So, Ibn Mas'ud said, well, I cannot give you thus every day, otherwise you will be bored coming to me every day. So people said, no, we never get bored of listening to Quran. Said, no, you will get bored. But some Sahaba said, we used to go to Rasulullah every day, we never get bored there. So he was Rasulullah. It's me. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, you'll get bored. So people said that, Sahaba said that, okay, then every other day. He said, no, even then you'll get bored. He said only 1 week, once a week is good. So people, now here is completely different. Among Sahaba, they want it every day or every other day. Now the Ustad is saying no, once a week. So but then a deal was reached for twice a week. I think it was Thursday and Monday, I guess. So they will go to Ibn Mas'ud to revive their Iman. So they would say to each other, and this is in Bukhari, in Kitab al-Iman, if you remember, we covered that one Sahabi will say to another Sahabi, Ta'al, come here, Najlis, nu'minu sa'atan. Come, let's sit down, let's revive our Iman. So this is this was at the best of times. Right? Because when Rasulullah was alive, my brother and sister, that was the best time. Right? Why was it? Because the presence of Rasulullah and then the wahi used to come. So each time the angel will come from the sky, from the heaven, it will bring all the barakat. Right? This is why when Sahaba buried Rasulullah, right? So you can imagine their sorrow and grief. You and I cannot even imagine. But the love that they had, I don't think anyone among us have that love. So, they had just now buried with their own hand the most precious thing. Right? That is Rasulullah, right? So, when they had buried and they were coming back, so Fatima, radiallahu ta'ala anha, said a sentence which is so full of grief. He saw Sahaba coming after burying Rasulullah. She went to the door. She opened the door and she addressed that group of Sahaba. And she said, now this is out of grief. She said, أَطَابَتْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَن تَحُثُّوا عَلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم التُّرَابِ. She said that, oh group of Sahaba, how were you able to throw dust on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Are you satisfied?
Yeah. Are you satisfied? Or, the meaning is, how were you able to do that? Because you buried Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how did you manage to do that? So that was the love of Sahaba towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, because they saw that the barakat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were there when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there, right? All the fitnas were all the fitnas during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were in check. All the fronts were. But when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left, all the fitnas started coming, especially after the Khilafat of Umar ended, there were fitna. So but still at that time, people were so much mindful of their Iman, checking their Iman, right? That they want to learn a lot. So I often think that, brother, this time is Sharul Qurun, the worst of times, where there is vulgarity, profanity, da'wah towards this taghut, and all this kufr and shirk and nifaq and you name it, right? No, exactly. وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَاء حُفْرَةٍ. You are right at the edge of Jahannam. You see what our youngsters are doing these days. What kind of incidents we are listening that are taking place within our community. Just forget about it. Unbelievable. So right now, brother, we need to have the majalis of ilm and zikr more than others, so that our iman could be revived. If you will not understand this, then what happens is that you will never learn, because you are busy in your profession and your life. You will and then al-ayad billah, you could even lose your iman. You never know. And you might be thinking that so this is why, brother, to keep your check, to keep your iman in check is very important. And before I move on to the next hadith, remember another ayah of Quran. Allah said, وَيَزْدَادَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِيمَانًا. In the Quran, Allah said, وَيَزْدَادَ الَّذِينَ, those people who attend these majalis of ilm and zikr, when they leave, they feel that their coming here had increased their iman. They have a stronger iman than before. Or maybe you had a question, a doubt about Allah, Rasul, about something that has to do with akhirah, with your iman. So now you got the answer. Now you have itminan. So now you feel that your iman is complete. So alhamdulillah, you are successful. So this is why, brother, the majalis of ilm and zikr are very important. Okay. So that was the hadith of Asma. And then the next hadith that we covered was the famous hadith in which Rasulullah sallam made wudu, and Abdullah ibn Zayd showed people how to make wudu, and this is exactly how we have been talking about the right way of making wudu. The next hadith that we covered was again the same on the same topic, that Rasulullah sallam made wudu, and Rasulullah showed to the Sahaba that this is the correct way of making wudu. The next hadith that we covered last week was that Rasulullah went for Hajj, and water was brought to Rasulullah sallam, and yes, Rasulullah, and then there was lack of water, so Rasulullah put his hand in that bucket of water. Then Sahaba saw that water was gushing out from the fingers of Rasulullah sallam. So this was called a mu'jiza of Rasulullah sallam. At the time of Hajj. It is because they prayed Zuhr. Or it was I don't know.
Going back from Ghazwa.
Or it was Ghazwa. 187 in my book. I do not know with.
No, we finished until 184.
What? 284, that's it?
184.
So we did not do this hadith? What? So let's start. Which one is that? ये तो हो गई ये तो हो गई अस्मा आज मैं अनक नहीं लगा ये तो हो गई अस्मा ये ना Yahya al-Mazin. Okay, so actually this hadith sharif is talking about okay, yeah, so this hadith sharif is the hadith in which this sahabi asked to be seen, to be shown how the correct way of method of wudu is. So we already learned this hadith in previous chapters, that this is the way Rasulullah. No, there's nothing new in this hadith. It's just that the Sahabi showed that this is the way of making wudu. So we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so Amr says that let me read it. My father saw Amr ibn Amr ibn Abi Hassan asking Abdullah ibn Zayd about the ablution of Rasulullah. Abdullah ibn Zayd asked for earthen water, meaning a pot of water, and in front of them performed wudu like that of Rasulullah. He poured water from the pot over his hand and washed his hand twice. I mean, actually, this hadith sharif is teaching us, is showing that, without the help from anybody, right, it is afzal to make wudu. That's why this hadith sharif is mentioned. Meaning you have an assistant or somebody who can pour water, that is fine as well. But it is more afzal to do wudu without getting help from anybody. Okay? So that's why Imam Bukhari rahimahullah had mentioned this hadith. The rest of the hadith is the same, like we read. Now the next hadith is narrated by Abu Juhayfa. He said that Rasulullah came to us at noon and water for ablution was brought to him. After he had performed wudu, the remaining water was taken by the people and they started smearing their bodies with it as a blessed thing. Rasulullah offered 2 rakat of Zuhr Salah and then 2 rakat of Asr Salah, while an anza spear was taken. And there was a sutra in front of him. Abu Musa said, Rasulullah asked for a tumbler containing water and washed both his hand and face in it, and then threw a mouthful of water in the tumbler and said to both of us, drink from the tumbler and pour. So, there are 2 things in this hadith. The first thing that we need to understand is sutra. When you are praying salah, put a stick or something in front of you. Why? Because then people would be able to walk from beyond the sutra. Now, is sutra fard or wajib? Well, neither is fard nor wajib. If the masjid where you are praying is big, right? So, and you feel that there will be nobody coming here, so there's no need to put sutra in that, because I see some people becoming very rigid in the masjid. That you are praying and they'll come and put sutra on, like a stick there. So it's not further wajib. Yeah, if you feel that there'll be people who will be crossing, walking across, then to put sutra is better. So that is one. But if you are alone, there's nobody there, so there's no need to put sutra. So this is something that like in Makkah and Medina, you go, there's no sutra there. But in our masjid, there are a group of brothers, they are so particular about sutra that if you are praying there without sutra, they will leave whatever they are doing and they will put a stick in front of you.
Front row?
Huh?
You bring in front row, first row.
No, so sutra is good to put, but it's not wajib or fard. Don't make it wajib and fard. Now, what is the reason behind that? Now, remember that our Rasulullah said that never walk across a person who's praying salah. Okay? And in one hadith, Rasulullah said that it is a sin which is so heinous that you would prefer waiting for 40 years than to walk across from a musalli. Okay? Because that disturbs the concentration. Like I'm praying salah and somebody just walks right in front of me, right there. So it will disturb my concentration. This is why anything that would disturb your concentration in the masjid, and that includes your cell phone. That is like the other day. What happened was that when was that? I think for Fajr. I said Allahu Akbar. I started the Jamaat. There were 2 saf behind me, and there was an old man. I will not name him. Old man, and he had a cell phone. And I think his grandson or granddaughter, they put an Indian song tune, right? And this old man, it's not his fault, he didn't know. And he brought that phone and it was in his kurta pocket. And the worst thing was he didn't know which pocket he had put it. So I said Allahu Akbar, and the pin drop sign, everybody is doing sana, and I have not started for Surah Fatiha. And here an Indian film song with full tune, with full volume goes on. And this old man was like he could not. And finally, and I have to start Surah Fatiha. So here I'm starting Surah Fatiha with the background music. and now he's finding, I finished Surah Fatiha, then started the next surah, and this old man, he's trying to find, finally he found his phone, and now he doesn't know how to switch it off. So and I can feel that this thing is going behind me, and he was standing right behind me. I mean, it took him maybe 3 minutes. Yeah, I don't know how long it took him to finally switch it off, or maybe it just died by itself. Oh, you were there. So, and then the old man was saying, Habib Sahab, I know it's not my fault. My grandson did this. So, exactly. I told him, okay, just put it on.
Why bring it in anyway?
Exactly, just don't bring it. Yeah, bring it. It has become a nuisance actually. Telephone in the masjid with different tunes. It has become. Sometimes you are praying salah and azan goes on. Sometimes Quranic ayah goes on. So, aapke kuch keh rahe the? Yeah. So anything that disturbs the concentration, right? And same thing, bringing children to the masjid. Those children that can disturb, that is not acceptable. So try not to do that. Okay. So ye ho gaya. So one masla was sister about sutra. Then the other is about the water. Well, nowadays we have running water actually. But let's say if you are making wudu in a from a bucket of water, right? So in our fiqh books, the masala is what to do with the used water. I mean, is it najis? Because let's say if you put your hand to take water out, right? So it's called ma musta'mal, meaning used water. So can you do that or not? So the answer is, I mean, it's not najis. It is not my mustamal. It is not something that, you have just put your hand inside. Unless your hands are najis, then it will make it najis. So this is why Rasulullah said that drink from the tumbler, pour of water on your face. So Sahaba radiallahu anhu will pour water on their faces. Why? Because that water has been touched by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they will use that water to rub it over their faces and their bodies. And yes, and money would drink. Do you remember in Kitabul Ilm we read that hadith about Anas, right? That when Rasulullah told him to go and throw his blood, that pashna, that hajama, the sunnah, Dr. Saeed Razak Sahab do it at the masjid for so many people. And there's something called hajama, or in Urdu we say pashna lagana, which is that, Doctor, what do you call that in English?
Cupping.
Cupping. So there's a method of Rasulullah through which the fasid blood is taken out. So once Rasulullah did that, and he gave to Anas that blood to go and throw it. So he went and drank it. So Rasulullah came and said, "Did you throw it at a safe place?" He said, "Yes, very safe." So when he told that I drank it, Rasulullah, "Why did you do that?" He said, "Because I thought if the blood of Rasulullah is in my body, Allah will not punish me." This is the muhabbat. So Rasulullah just smiled, So this is why, brother, many of the actions which Sahaba did, Rasulullah never told them to do. Never told them. And they did it on their own. And Rasulullah approved of it. Yeah? So sometimes in muhabbat, brothers, when you love somebody, there are certain things which there's no need for anybody to tell you. You just do it from your heart. So, but here, brother, remember when Rasulullah was dying, and Rasulullah saw that love towards him, Rasulullah put a line to Sahaba in muhabbat. Rasulullah said, "La tatruni kama atrat al-nasara Isa ibn Maryam. Fa ana Abdullahi wa Rasuli, faqulu Abdullahi wa Rasuli." Rasulullah said, "Oh, I know you people love me so much, but remember, don't become like Christians. The Christians, they started calling Isa son of God. I am Abdullahi wa Rasuli, faqulu Abdullah. I am the Abd of Allah and Rasul, so call me Abdullah and his Rasul. Don't call me that Rasulullah was a miniature God. Don't. Sorry? Which is going on right now. Like back home in India, we have a sect called Bareli, and they believe in Rasulullah as God. I mean, literally God. In fact, in many cases, they have. There's a book called Bahari Shariat, in which they have written that, at one place they have written that here Allah also became helpless, and Rasulullah helped Allah. I mean, at one point. I mean, it's just amazing. And they call it ishq of Rasul and muhabbat of Rasul. So Rasulullah drew the line. Yeah, so you have to understand, we have to draw the line, otherwise, you can easily be doing shirk. So, the next hadith sharif, brother, is narrated by
It says Asir and Zuhur together. What about that?
the Prophet our 2 rakats Zuhur and then 2 rakats of Asr prayer with another. So yes, so with that wudu, Rasulullah prayed Zuhur and Asr.
Together combined or same?
Combined. Now here is a question, the fifth question. Can you combine two salah together? Now remember, Rasulullah is in Safar. He is on a journey. Right? Qasr. So here, first thing is that Rasulullah is doing Qasr, 2-2. Second thing is Rasulullah is praying together. Right? So while you are on a journey, right, you can do that. Okay? But Imam Abu Hanifa differ. Imam Abu Hanifa says that since there is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu in which Rasulullah said that if a person do Jama baina salatain, he combines 2 rakat, he is doing a big sin. So the Imam said, the rest of the Imam said to Imam Abu Hanifa the argument that hadith is for local, you are at your home, not for journey. Right? So Imam Hanifa said, well, there is no mention of the journey or home. So the other group of cite such ahadith. That here Rasulullah Jama. Imam Abu Hanifa said, no, this is Jama Suri. I know. Jama Suri means that Rasulullah delayed praying Salat al-Zuhr and prayed Salat al-Zuhr at the end, right at the end of the time of Zuhr, and then prayed Asr at the earliest time. This is why Hanafis don't do Jama. The rest of the Masalik people do. But I don't know, but there are many ahadith that show that Rasulullah do Jama baina salatain. So whether if you are doing Jama in Safar, nobody should be objecting to you. You can do that, to be honest. Zuhur and Asr together and Maghrib and Isha together. You can do that only in Safar. But my dear brother and sister, it is always better to pray Salah at this time. Because here, one thing is that goes with the argument of Imam Abu Hanifa is that here, there was a problem of water. When you are traveling these days, I don't think we have any problem of water. So if you have an issue, then yes, you can do Jama baina salatain. If not, if you can pray Salah at its time, then please pray Salah at its time. If you feel that I have a flight to catch, and the flight is like, you are going, how long is the flight? 6-7 hours. Just an example. Let's say if you go at 4 o'clock, right? So now you cannot pray Asr, right? So it's okay for you to pray Zuhr and Asr together, right? And then when you reach your destination, and I don't want to name that city, so then you can do Jama. When you reach there, right? Now you can pray Maghrib at its time and Isha at the time. Now you will be there for a week, right? So then there is no need to do Jama. So when there is a need, then that's understandable.
Yes, we should say always prayer before you go there.
In those days when there was heavy rain and there was Maghrib and you can pray Isha before you leave.
Yeah, but that argument is not valid because so inshallah we'll talk about Salah. Now the next one is by Abu Ibn Shayba. Okay, Ibn Shihab. So here it says that Muhammad Ibn Abi Rabah, who was the person on whose face Rasulullah ﷺ injected a mouthful of water from his family's well while he was a boy, and Urwa on the authority of Al-Mishwar and others who testified each other, said, whenever the Prophet performed wudu, his companions were nearly fighting for the remain of the water. So again, because Rasulullah would put his hand there, right? So the remaining water, right? Sahaba would literally fight. They would not fight, but they were so eager to get that water so they can rub it on their face and rub it on their body. Now, The first incident that is mentioned that Rasulullah ﷺ ejected a mouthful of water. So that was out of love. Like you are playing with some kids, right? So Rasulullah ﷺ was gargling his mouth, and out of love or in a playful mood, Rasulullah ﷺ ejected that water to the Sahabi. So that Sahabi although kind of felt honored that I had used water of Rasulullah ﷺ. Another thing, brother, is that here they say that when Rasulullah performed wudu and Sahaba were really fighting to take water. Now this is for barakah. So everything that Rasulullah have touched, right, is barakah, right? Allah subhanahu, and I told you that there is nothing wrong in keeping those things that belong to awliyaullah, right? Awliyaullah. So, and to do ziyarat of things that belong to awliyaullah, Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, Sahaba, that is fine. So what I'm saying, you have to understand what is right and what is wrong. Hudud is that just do ziyarah of those blessed things. Don't think that these things are holy, that they are going to save you. Like many years ago, brothers, now this is extreme. Many years ago, in a village near Lucknow from where I come, there was a janaza. And I went to the janaza, and the first time I saw this, that when the janaza was put, right, in the grave, an old man from the family went inside the qabr, right? And we are all waiting to close the qabr. He put a big piece of paper, and he had written something. He opened the coffin, and the side of the janaza, he put that piece of cloth, and then closed the coffin, tied the head, and then came out. And then I was a kid at that time, and I remember what did he do. So then later on, after many years, I asked the same question to a family member of the janaza. I said, what did your grandfather did that? He said that my grandfather put the shajaratul nasar, family tree. I said, but were you trying to send a message to Allah? That I belong to this family. Why did you do that? They said that because they claim that they are Sayyid. They belong to the family of Rasulullah. The family goes back to Rasulullah. So they said that's the reason we put that we are. I said, well, that's known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why did you put it? But they said, no, this is our tradition. When somebody died in the family, we do that. Yeah.
There's one website that says that Japanese scientist was researching on the water, and he also researched the water that when the water, you take the water and do it like a Quran or Hadith.
I read that.
And read it and he tested the water change in a good quality. And the same another water he take it and cuts the water, and then he test and it was really become bad. And it's on the website. And also he tested about the Zamzam also. So
just like I can give you another instance that after Isha Salah, our Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will stretch his palm like this, right? And he will read قُلْ يَا الْكَافِرُونَ قُلْ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Sometime Ayatul Kursi, right? And then he will blow over his palm, right? And then he will rub his palm from his head all the way to his body as far as he can go.
This is ruqya.
This is ruqya. This is protecting yourself from evil spirits or from any harmful thing. Now, Sochi Salim, blowing over your palm. So this means that something came to your palms. When you read the Quran and blew over it, right? Then something is in your hand. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ rubbed it. Now at that time, when the science was not that developed, people could not know what was that. But Sahaba never questioned why Rasulullah did it, so they did it. Now maybe science will discover later on that there's some reason for that. Or brother, you have a glass of water or a jug of water or a bottle of water, and if I were to read some ayat of Quran, right, and blow away, right? So then, it becomes a special water. You can drink it. So Sahaba were going, a group of Sahaba were going, and they reached a village, and they asked the villagers that, can we stay tonight here? They said no. So Sahaba said, why not? They said, no, you cannot, we are in a bad mood, just go away. Said, what happened? Our chief is sick and he's dying. So one of the Sahabis said, can we go and see him? He said, what can you do? Can you come and see? So he went and saw that the chieftain, and he was on his bed, in a very bad state of health. So this Sahabi said to those people that, bring me some water. Some water was brought. This Sahabi read some specific ayat of Quran and blew over water, right? And then asked those people to let your chief drink this water. So he drank, and after a few hours he started feeling well. He opened his eyes and he was kind of well. After 2 or 3 days he was completely fine. So not only that the Sahaba spent 2 or 3 days there, but after 2 or 3 days, when they were ready to leave, the chief, now who is a healthy man now, he rewarded them with so many goats and food and all that. So Sahaba brought those goats and everything to Madinah Munawwara. So the chief of that group of Sahaba, he went to Rasulullah and narrated the story. So Rasulullah jokingly said, where is my share of goats? Meaning Rasulullah approved of it. So blowing over water after reading Quran, right? That is something that a Sahaba did, and Rasulullah approved of it. So, so here also.
So that's why also they say when you eat food or anything, you say Bismillah. When you say Bismillah, it's going to be totally good for you.
Exactly. So all of these things, brothers, are it's not bid'ah. So we have to know. So here Rasulullah would make wudu, and the water that was touched by Rasulullah, Sahaba will drink it, they will rub it over their face and body. The next hadith is narrated by
Sahih bin Yazid.
Is by So he says that it's Sa'id. In fact, it's Sa'id bin Yazid. Sa'id bin Yazid said, my aunt took me to Rasulullah and said, oh Prophet of Allah, this son of my sister has got a disease in his legs. Okay? So he passed his hand on my head and prayed for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessing for me. Then he performed wudu, and I drank from the remaining water. I stood behind him and saw the seal of the nubuwwat between his shoulders, and it was like a zildul hijra, meaning the bottom of a small tent. But some said egg of a. Now, again, brother, there are 3 quick points that you need to know from this hadith. The first thing is taking your children to awliyaullah. Take your child to a wali of Allah so that he can get blessings from that wali of Allah. Now, I do not know whether you are familiar with what is it called in English? Tahniq. Tahniq means this is a tradition which actually not many people are following, and that is when your child is small, right? You should take your child to a wali of Allah, any person whom you think is pious, God-fearing, is close to Allah, closer than you, right? You go to him, and that wali of Allah will do tahniq. Tahniq means that he will take a tamr or a khajur, right, a date, and a little bit of it, not the whole, a little bit, and then he will put in his mouth, right? Chew a little bit, and then he will put that in the mouth of that baby. Now, of course, that baby cannot eat because that baby is small, but this is called tahniq.
The top of the mouth, he drop it against.
Yes. So that is tahniq. So that is something that traditionally Sahaba did it. They will take their children to Rasulullah sallallahu, and Rasulullah will do this. So since then it became a tradition, ages after. But now I don't see Muslims doing it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So but this is a tahniq. This is something that we should do. What happened is that this gives the blessing to that child, because if that person is wali of Allah who had done this. So this is the second thing. So the first thing here is that says that my sister took that child to Rasulullah, so Rasulullah put his hand on his head. So this is for blessing. And the second thing is again drinking the remaining water. Okay, so Rasulullah had put his hand in that bucket, right, and he made wudu, right. So that water became blessed. So he drank. And the third thing, brother, is that Khatmun Nubuwa or Khatim Nubuwa. Khatim Nubuwa means that, brother, right behind here. You see, I'll just show you exactly. You see, right behind here, right here, was the Khatim of Nubuwa. What is Khatim of Nubuwa? The seal of Nubuwa. So some say that it was like this. Like that. Some say that no, it was like that. Allahu Alam. It was between, right here. So this child said that I went behind Rasulullah Sallam and I saw that Khatim of Nubuwwah, right? Now what was written there? What was written? Several Sahaba have said different things. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. Some say it was Muhammad Rasulullah written, or just Muhammad was written. Some say no, Rasulullah was written. But the thing is that most of the time this place would be covered. So Rasulullah Sallam would never show it to people. You know? But there's an interesting story that one Yahudi, right, who became Muslim, Abdullah ibn Salam, you know that, right? He was a big rabbi, and he knew that the last Nabi is coming. So he saw all the signs of Nubuwwat in Rasulullah Sallam. So when he reached Medina, he met Rasulullah Sallam. He asked questions, Rasulullah answered. Now he was convinced that Rasulullah Sallam. But before accepting Islam, he wanted to see Khatim al-Nubuwwah. Now Rasulullah Sallam was the Nabi of Allah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed him that this person is looking for something. Now Rasulullah will always keep his neck covered. But so Abdullah ibn Salam is sitting in front of Rasulullah Sallam. Rasulullah had answered all the questions. Now Rasulullah is talking to some other Sahaba. Now he is looking like this and that, trying to go back to see Rasulullah Sallam. Rasulullah Sallam is pretending as if he's talking to the Sahaba. But Rasulullah is mindful that this person who is a Yahudi, he has seen all the signs of Nubuwwat. Now he is trying to look for Nubuwwat. Now he did not say that Rasulullah knew that. So what Rasulullah did was something that Rasulullah had never done before. What it was, he unbuttoned his shirt, like 2 or 3 I would say, right? And then Rasulullah did like this. And now he is doing that, and he's not talking to Abdullah ibn Salam, he's talking to the Sahaba. He did like that. And Abdullah ibn Salam came from here and he saw the Khatim al-Nubuwwah. And then what happened was, when he saw that, Rasulullah Sallam put his shirt back. And Rasulullah is not talking to him, right? So Abdullah ibn Salam said to Rasulullah Sallam, Ya Rasulullah, stretch your hand, I want to take Shahada. So Abdullah ibn Salam took Shahada at that time, right? So he was the biggest name among Yahud to accept Islam at that time, right? Then when Abdullah ibn Salam became Muslim, and this is something that you can read in books, he would uncover all the mysteries of Yahudis, where Rasulullah's name was in Tawrat and how they erased it, right? And what are the signs of the last Nabi that was in Tawrat and Talmud both, and how they tried to twist it, turn it, okay? And why Yahuds are in Medina Munawwara. Remember, Yahuds should be in Baitul Maqdis, in Jerusalem. You know, did you ever thought about it, brother and sister, that what were Yahud doing in Medina?
Looking for the signs of
So Abdullah ibn Salam told Sahaba, why did they come to Medina? They were saying that for centuries, they were wandering around, looking for the place where the last Nabi will come. So the description of Medina was given in Tawrat and Talmud. Palm trees, this and that. So said that many centuries ago, a group of rabbis came to Medina. It was called Yathrib. So when they came and they looked at the city, and they said, oh, this is the place where the last Nabi will come. So then they went to Jerusalem, told the rest of the Yahud, that, you know what, the last Nabi will come here and we should be the first person to accept Islam on his hand. Now they were sure that it is going to be from the children of Ishaq al-Islam. So they have been living in Medina for all those years, because you know those Arabs, those Yahuds were not Arab. Yahuds were not Arab. They were living there. So they lived for 7 centuries. Finally, when Rasulullah ﷺ came, right, and the Yahuds found out that no, he's not from the children of Ishaq. He's from the children of Ismail. Right? So they said, no, we are not going to accept him. Because we are superior, the children of Ishaq are superior to the children of Ismail. So for that reason, they did not accept. Because remember, Yahud say that we are the chosen people, even now. You know, when Yahud come, if they have what they call kosher food, you know what is kosher? If kosher is the food that is slaughtered by a Yahudi in the religious way, that's number one. And number two thing is something that when we invited Yahud, when was that? At Iftar? And they have a separate table here. And Ijaz Bhai went to get kosher food, but one of the things is that if any non-Jewish person will just even touch it, just touch it, yeah, so they will not eat it. Although it was slaughtered according to their way. But why? Because all of us are najis. Yes.
Forks and knives were I have to bring.
Yeah, and yeah, separate. If you touch it, we are not. That's why Yahud said that the whole world was created to serve Jews. These 13 million Jews that are there in the world, the whole world, billions of us, were created by Allah to serve Jews. I don't know about that, but Muslim countries are doing that. But this is the idea. So they have the superiority. So when Rasulullah ﷺ came, they did not accept him, because they said, how come he's from the children of Ismail and they're inferior and we are superior? So for this reason, they did not accept. They are, as Allah in the Quran have said, فَمَا أَصْبَرَهُمْ عَلَى النَّارِ. How much happy they are to go to Jahannam. So here, this hadith Sharif also shows to us that the Khatim al-Nubuwwat was there. The seal of prophethood was there, right? And when this child saw, he remembered that for the rest of his life. Okay? So Khatim al-Nubuwwat was another sign of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like so many other signs. Okay? Now since Rasulullah used to keep it covered, so we do not have a specific description of how it was. One or two Sahaba saw it and they described it to us. Some say it was Muhammad Rasulullah written, some say it was Rasulullah written, but whatever the case is, but the Khatim was there. And it was mentioned in Tawrat and Injil. So we will stop here, whether or not we'll have a verse. I lost my glasses. I have to go and get a new one. The problem is I cannot find it without having glasses. One of my uncle, my mom's brother, I remember when I was a kid, he said, Tariq, help me find my glasses. Where? So my nani, my grandmother was alive. She yelled at my mom and said, you are wearing glasses. I remember that. Okay, brother, about Abu Bakr Siddiq. Abu Bakr Siddiq, so we talked about his khilafat and all that. Now, brother, quickly we'll talk about his heroics, his great work that he had done. So, Usama's experience. So we talked about the fact that when Rasulullah was in his last days, Rasulullah sent a group of Sahaba towards Syria, right? And remember who was made the Amir? Usama. Usama was a young, Usama was the son of Zaid, and at that time he was less than 20 years. Some say he was only 17 years old. So, but the thing was that when they went out, they knew how sick Rasulullah ﷺ is. Okay? So they went a few miles and then they stopped. Because their heart was telling that, something is going to happen to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they did not go. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, they came back to Medina Munawwara. Right? So when Abu Bakr became Khalifa, the very first thing that he did, was that he asked those group of Sahaba to go out. They said, all of you people go out. Go to Syria. Now, some Sahaba, senior Sahaba said to Abu Bakr, I don't think that this is the right thing to do. We are without Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Things are new, things are developing, We do not know what would happen. On one hand, the people who are turning away from Islam, others are saying that we will not give zakat. The Christians are planning to attack us. So we have so many fronts to cover. So this group of Sahaba that you are sending, we know that Rasulullah has sent them, right? But the thing is that this is not the right time to send. We can send them later on sometime. But right now we need these people to take care of these problems. So Abu Bakr said something, he said that, how can I stop them from going when they were sent by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Okay? They were sent by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now I am going to follow the instructions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These people must go. So under the leadership of Usama, these Sahaba went towards Syria and they accomplished their job and then they came back. What happened was that when they went towards Syria, it gave a very strong message to the enemies that these Muslims must be having a long, big, huge army. That they have sent a very small group, right? And they are not fearful of us. So the Syrians abandoned the plans to attack Medina Munawwara. Now when they were going, Abu Bakr needed Umar. Because they were, in American language, you could say they were buddies. They always needed each other for mashwara.
Consultation.
Yeah. Now, Abu Bakr is a new Khalifa, right? It's a new Islamic state, you could say. Now, Abu Bakr needed somebody to turn to, right? So, Abu Bakr went to Usama when they were leaving. And he said to Usama, so this is the Khalifa. He said to Usama, can you give me permission to hold back Umar? That is called, brother, Ita'atul Amir. So Usama said that, yes, Amir al-Mu'min, you can have Umar. So this way Umar was. No. Second thing that happened was that when this group was going to Syria, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu asked Usama to ride on a horse. So Usama was riding on a horse. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was walking. To show how important it is to accompany those people who are going to spread Islam. So he was walking. So Usama, 17-year-old boy, 18-year-old boy, he was feeling kind of awkward. So after a while he said, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, either let me come down from the horse or you also come on a horse, because I don't feel comfortable that you are walking and I'm riding. So Abu Bakr Siddiq said that, the dust that is touching my body, Allah is protecting my body from the adab of Jahannam. Because when you are in the path of Allah, you are there to spread Islam. The hardship that you face, the dust that will come on your face and your body, Allah will not. And here remember, what is fi sabilillah? This is something that when you say I'm going in the path of Allah, what does that mean? This is a very important thing. Rasulullah have said a person who goes out to earn halal livelihood, so he can feed himself and his family members. He is in fi sabilillah. So each time when you go to a job, that's fi sabilillah. When you are going to learn deen, when you are going to help somebody, all these are. So this was Usama. So Usama came back. So this expedition was good. The next one is Sahaba.
Usama was also like grandson of
grandson. Because
That's why everybody loved
loved it. Inshallah, we'll talk about Islam. Now, when he was going, what were the advices? Now, brother, this is something that our leaders need, and we also need. He said, look, do not be dishonest. Do not deceive anybody. Do not hide the booty you get. Do not mutilate anybody. Do not kill the aged, the children, and the women. Do not set fire to date palm trees. Do not cut down fruit trees. Do not slaughter a goat or a cow or a camel except for the purpose of food. You will come across people who have given up the word and are sitting in monasteries. Leave them alone, meaning those monks. So, because why Rasulullah said that? Because he was going towards Syria, right? And there was expected to be a fight. Okay, so Rasulullah laid down these rules. Okay, so the next thing that happened during the Khilafat of Umar is the problem of imposters. So Abu Bakr was imposter. Many people claim to be Nabis. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu had to go and confront them. Like we have Mirza Ahmad Qadiani on this now. So there were many of those that. So it's a long chapter how he went into. I will skip that. I mean, he went after them and he gave them an option: either come back to Islam or face death. This is so he was. I would say. Yeah, now he was getting all kind of mashwara. What to do, which front to go first, right? So Abu Bakr Siddiq who first went after those people who had refused to give zakat, and then he went on after the rest of the year. I mean, it's a long one, brother. You can read it on your own. War. Now he had to go on a war against these fake Anbiya. As I told you, Musalma Kazzab had the biggest followers, and then there was a female prophet as well. So Musalma and that woman ended up marrying each other. So two prophets were married. So he had to go against them. Inshallah, we'll email you these slides so you can. These are all fake prophets. Okay. Now, one of the great things that happened during the Khilafat of Umar was the achievement of Khalid ibn Walid. Okay. Now, Khalid ibn Walid was a Sahabi who was called Saifullah. Okay, the sword of Allah. Well, that's why he did not die in a battle. Because the sword of Allah cannot be broken, right? So that's why he knew that he is not going to get shahada. So Khalid became the right hand man in terms of battles to Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So here you see that whether it is against the fake prophets or fighting against Christians in Syria, then Iraq, then Iran, elsewhere, Khalid was leading. Now what happened was that when Abu Bakr Siddiq Khilafat ended, and I told you that the Khilafat of Abu Bakr was how long, myself? 2 years, 3 months and 10 days actually. That's how it. So Khalid, the Sahaba were depending upon Khalid on the war front. Right? Now, the next person to be Khalifa was Umar. Now, the first thing that Umar did was, when he became Khalifa was, he replaced Khalid with Amr ibn al-As. He said Khalid is relieved of his duties. Right? And now the person who will take over from Khalid is Amr al-As. Now, why did Umar do that? Umar did it because he wanted to tell to the people that Allah is not giving us victory because of Khalid. Trust Allah, don't trust Khalid. Number one. Number two thing is, brother, we have to see the obedience of Khalid. That when this letter came to Khalid, Khalid read that letter and he did not tell to any soldier, anybody. He took that letter and he went to Amr. He said, Amr, here's the letter from Amir Mu'mineen. You are in charge. I'm under you now. And I'm happy. So somebody said that, Khalid, how can you do that? So Khalid said that, look, when I was commander, Abu Bakr made me commander, I was fighting for the sake of Allah. Now I am going to work under Amr ibn al-As and I am still going to fight for the sake of Allah. Okay? So that was but Abu Bakr depended on Khalid, and Khalid did all this, which inshallah you can read in these slides at home. Now, Musaylima, you see, his name was Musaylima, but you know, in history, you know him by Al-Kadhab. Musaylima Al-Kadhab. Like you have Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Musaylima Al-Kadhab. So he was Al-Kadhab. So it's a very funny incident that happened between him, you know, how he claimed to be prophet and then how his prophethood was proven to be wrong, and then how he eventually died. Inshallah, you can just Bahrain. In Bahrain, brothers, at the time of Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiallahu ta'ala, Islam was brought. Okay? So here the Prophet of Bahrain embraced Islam at the time of Rasulullah, like few of them. But what happened after is that a powerful tribe, Abu Bakr, threw off. Now, Bahrain, right now, if you have been to Bahrain, there are a large number of Shia population, right? In fact, so what happened was that after the death of Rasulullah, so many, the fitna of Shiism, the Shia people, kind of originated from Bahrain. You see? So, Hizbullah. Abu Bakr threw off the yoke of Islam and started fighting against Muslims. Abu Bakr sent a battalion under Allah ibn Hadrami to deal with the rebellion. The Banu Bakr was defeated, the leader Hazim was killed, Bahrain was against the So this way, one after another, Abu Bakr had to deal with all these problems which he dealt with. Okay, from next week, brother, inshallah, we'll talk about the era of conquest. Because before we leave, remember, brothers, that in 2 years, 3 months, how much a person can achieve. Right? But Abu Bakr was able to achieve a lot. And Abu Bakr, after the Khilafat of Abu Bakr, the Khilafat of Umar lasted for 10 years. It's absolutely right to believe that what Umar achieved, nobody else was able to achieve. Right? But the foundation of a very stable Khilafat was laid by Abu Bakr. If he had not achieved all this, then brother Umar would not have been able to accomplish all that. So inshallah next we will talk about it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. So let's just phone
رب زدني علما ألف لام